the real white supremacy. The real white supremacy. Now, this is pervasive. It's actually everywhere. And if you engage in it, you'll be popular, you'll be fashionable, you'll be stylish. We're talking about white liberals who are convinced that they are the ones who must help the black people, that black people are so at a disadvantage, so lost, they can only get by with the help of virtuous and superior white people. Now, this is an ignorant way to view the world, but it's very popular and it's growing. It's growing, particularly since, well, Black Lives Matter summer, it went ultra mainstream. So white people join forces because they're good and virtuous, especially on the left, right? They had to help this horrible situation. There were so many lies being told during this period. What else would prompt Nancy Pelosi to get on her knees in African garb for this kind of display? Mitt Romney got into the action. Mitt Romney walking in a Black Lives Matter protest. What was that all about? What was motivating them? I think it was a sense of superiority and also securing their own power, securing their own status, big time. What do you think this guy was thinking?
Black Lives Matter! 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 Black Lives Matter!
So this went viral, and people noted that it had very little to do with the protest or the issue at hand, but all with his need to perform and appear as though he were doing something. It happened to people all across the spectrum in terms of race, but they all had something they wanted to keep or wanted to gain. Power, status. Hey, the football world, they were the worst. This is that coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
This is about racism in America that white people don't know. They don't know enough. And they need to be coached up. And they need to be educated about what the heck is going on in this world. The really amazing thing that I've learned is black people know the truth. They know exactly what's going on. It's white people that don't know.
This is a preposterous and racist way to see the world. An entire group gets it, an entire group doesn't get it? Isn't this a land of individuals? It really ought to be, but he had status and power. I think he still has it, and a lot of money. $11 million salary. If you had status, you had power, you went with this nonsense to keep it and pretend that you had something to offer. Here's Governor Northam of Virginia. Mr. Blackface, do you remember that? Yes, he actually wore blackface at one point. And, well, after he was caught doing that horrendous deed, he could never, ever speak the truth again.
We don't realize sometimes, especially as a white person, how impactful, how offensive they are.
You got to speak for yourself, and you may, in fact, be a racist. That blackface one more time. This is, can you believe this? A Democrat who actually managed to stay in power after that. All right, so what else do white people don't do? Oh, they don't listen enough because black people can't make themselves heard? Is that what they're saying here?
As a white person, as white people, we need to listen.
When it comes to race, white people need to listen more.
I don't understand these generalizations. Do you? They make no. I'm going to be very specific here. I again think it's about status, power, and money, especially for these two that you just heard. Joan Walsh, net worth some $12 million. The other one, I believe, married into money, $25 million in estimated net worth. This is what it's about. Money, making more of it, keeping what you got. Back to the NFL, the worst in all of this. Roger Goodell, he can't back up this statement, but he keeps making it. Watch.
We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of black people.
Systematic oppression of black people. What does he know about that? Explain that to me. Tell me the history of it. Tell me how it exists today. He can't, but he knows that's what the mob wants to hear. Racism, everybody condemns it, okay? Not just you at the NFL, but this kind of, he's not after solutions. He's after keeping his status and power, which he's got a lot of. an estimated $200 million in the bank. Wow. All right. But the worst offender of them all is Joe Biden. Oh, when it comes to virtue signaling and race baiting, he is the king.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Wow, that's actually not virtue signaling. Race, that's just flat out racist. That is flat out racist. And Joe is lecturing the entire country during this moment, this extended, prolonged moment, by the way. There are other moments that the mainstream buries, but they happen, and history will one day acknowledge them. In the meantime, I will.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
It spoke pretty fast, but can we put that up on the screen, please? It goes like, poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. That would reveal Joe Biden's racial prejudice that black children must be poor, or poor children must be black. That's something, isn't it? And he keeps talking like this. It happens all the time.
Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
There were a lot of black people in that audience. Mitt Romney is going to put you all back in chains. Are they that weak? Are they that inferior to somebody like Mitt Romney that would actually happen? That's nonsense. That's racist. And the rhetoric, not just from Joe Biden, but all of the left, just corrupting our entire society. We're living with the results of this stuff.
Need to protect themselves against racist police officers.
Modern policing, particularly in the South and, as you said, in certain parts of the Northeast, actually evolved out of the slave patrols.
To understand American policing today is really to tell a story that comes out of slavery in the United States.
The discriminatory and racist police system in America.
The police have not actually slowed down their killings of people, and black people in particular. And so this entire system is what needs to be put on trial.
The entire system, policing, our Constitution, our way of life, all of it is wrong, all of it. You know, there's a pretty thoughtful guy at FBN. His name is Charles Payne. I heard him on the radio not too long ago, and he said that he feels like Joe Biden is trying to make black kids afraid of the police and resentful of America. And it's working. It's working what they're doing. And you can see it all too often. The police see it every day. Now, in Michigan, a couple of months ago, there was a traffic stop. This should not have escalated. But look at how the driver acts, how he doesn't cooperate. Where could he have gotten these ideas that what was happening to him was completely unjust?
Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car! Stay in the car! Get in the car! Dude, I'm stopping you. Do you have a license? Do you have a license?
For what?
I'm stopping you. Do you have a license?
What that do?
Do you have a driver's license? Do you speak English?
Yes.
Can I see your license?
What that do?
A struggle breaks out. Man tries to grab the officer's stun gun. He winds up dead about 90 seconds later. Where could he have gotten the idea that everything is racist and he must resist or is entitled to resist? We'll see how this all shakes out in court, but I think the toxic, ridiculous conversation this country is having about race has led to tragic moments like this.